Hello. Welcome to the University of Memphis Law School Honor Council discussion session. The purpose of this video is to help prospective applicants and recently enrolled students understand what they need to disclose in terms of past actions to the law school or on their application. With me today is Honor Council Chief Justice M.K. Smith. Justice Smith, could you please explain to us what this video is about?
Sure, thanks for having me today, Bob. So today's video will tell you a little bit about why it's important to be so accurate and forthcoming on your law school application when you're applying to law school with respect to your monetary actions. Now, the reason why this is so important is because your failure to be accurate and forthcoming on your law school application could potentially result in an honor code violation when you get to law school, which is never good.
Just a second now. How can something that I did, well, hypothetically did, 30 years ago, come back to bite me on the butt?
So in your third year of law school, you'll apply for the bar exam. Now, when you're applying for the bar exam, you're required to disclose your past admonitory actions. Now, when the bar examiners receive your application, they will review those admonitory actions and compare them with the admonitory actions that you disclosed on your law school application. Now, if they're inconsistent, that's a red flag, and the bar examiners will call you in for a character and fitness interview. Also, it results in an honor code violation, which turns into an honor council hearing, and it just becomes a big mess.
That's a lot of information. If you could you break this down for the audience in terms of what is a general rule of thumb?
If you don't know, disclose.
Thank you, MK. Joining us right now is Senior Honor Council Justice Mohammed Faraj. Justice Faraj, you are here to talk to us about traffic violations, correct?
Yes, and thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Well, tell us about traffic violations and why it's important to disclose those puppies.
So, traffic violations are the most common violation that law students have before coming to law school.
Like speeding?
Right, exactly. But only certain ones have to be reported. Most of them are not that big of a deal. The way you find out whether something needs to be reported is you have to look at two things. First, what the ticket is for, and the other is for how much the citation is.
Here, let's start with the dollar amount. What's important about that?
Right, so anything that's over $200 must be reported. If it's something like that's a non-moving violation, something where you would have gotten a ticket whether or not you were behind the wheel of a car or not, then this is something you have to report no matter what. It doesn't matter how much the ticket was.
Okay.
But if it was a moving violation, if it was something like speeding, or if it's something where you've been pulled over and you no longer and you don't have your registration with you, these are moving violations. And if you have a moving violation and it's under $200, you don't need to report it. If it's over $200, if you've gotten a speeding ticket that's for $201, you then have to report it.
All right, you're using the word citation and ticket. I need to know something here.
Yep.
When you get pulled over, oftentimes there's one moving violation generally, speeding, rolling through a stop sign, and that may or may not be $200. There was a fine for blowing the stop sign. There was a fine for me not having my seatbelt on. There was a fine for me flicking my cigarette out the window, and a fine for me not having current insurance. But what if the entire citation is, let's say, $500, but none of them individually on the citation are over $200?
So if none of them are over $200, you don't have to report the incident because there was no citation on that ticket that was for more than $200.
Okay.
If there is a single citation on that ticket that's for $200 or more, then you not only have to report the citation specifically, but the entire ticket. You have to report that citation, but give...
You're kidding.
No, you have to give context to anything you report to the Honor Council. It's better to be safe than sorry in those situations. You don't want to accidentally leave something off that ends up giving you a Honor Council violation. So in those situations, you do want to report everything involved, including things that you wouldn't otherwise have to admit.
Justice Faraj, thank you very much for being here. That was informative.
Thanks.
With us now is Associate Justice Gail Robinson. Mr. Robinson, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for talking to me.
And Justice Robinson, you're here to talk to us today about criminal histories, is that correct?
Correct.
So, why, you think I've done hard time in Folsom or something?
Well, not at all, Bob, no.
All right.
But there's a common misconception about what we mean when we say criminal acts. Now, while you would have to disclose whether you did hard time in the pen, Bob, but you would also need to disclose whether you were in violation of an ordinance or received a citation or even was taken into custody by the police officers.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. So if I was taken into custody, but no charges were ever filed, I still have to report this?
Yes, you would need to disclose that.
Okay.
And even if the cop told you that everything was going to be right and it wouldn't be on your record. It's really easy to rely on information like that at the time, but it's no substitute for doing your own research and finding out what is actually on your record.
Okay, I get that. But what if I've gone through the time, the expense, and the heartache of actually getting it expunged so that nobody can ever find it?
Even if it was expunged, it needs to be disclosed because the bar examiners can and will find it.
Okay, that's depressing, but I needed that information. Thank you, sir.
Hello everyone, my name is Danny Bounds and I serve as the current secretary of the Honor Council. Bob decided to take a break, so I just decided to answer a couple questions for you all just in case about academic regulations here at the University of Memphis. Section 21.4 of the Honor Code specifically discusses academic regulations and violations, which is also defined as an act of dishonesty that is wrongful, improper, or prohibited here at the law school. Now, some of you all might not understand what an academic violation is based off your experiences from undergraduate school or maybe even secondary education. And so we have a list of those violations in section 21.4. But I'm here to give you a couple examples just in case you might not know. Let's say that you're in class, one of your best friends decides to skip class that day and you sign in for them instead. That is a violation of 21.4 of the Honor Code. Let's say your teacher says stop exam, but you hit submit and answer a question before you hit submit after she says stop. That is also a violation of the Honor Code. And another example, how about, let's say we have our closed memos here at the law school, an assignment that you have to do by yourself. If you have any outside help from any other individual, that too can be a violation of the Honor Code. So as you can see, there are many different examples of violating the Honor Code here at the University of Memphis. And if you have any other questions regarding that, please feel free to look at section 21.4 of the Honor Code, and they'll be sure to answer any questions that you may have. Thank you all.
Joining me now with some final thoughts and parting comments is Honor Council Justice Quinan Dang.
Hi, Bob.
Hello, thank you for joining us. And what are the final things you need to let everybody know?
Your duty to disclose doesn't just apply to incidents that occur prior to law school, because there's also a continuing duty to disclose any trouble that you might get yourself into while you're in law school.
So what happens at Bar Dog doesn't necessarily stay at Bar Dog?
That's right, Bob. So let's say, hypothetically, if you were to get a ticket for public intoxication later tonight, then you must disclose it and amend your student file.
Anything else?
And if any incidents that you would have had to disclose while applying to law school occurs during law school, although those incidents by themselves do not trigger an Honor Code violation, you must disclose them and amend your student file.
Okay, so let's assume hypothetically that I do get a public intoxication when we're done shooting this tonight. How long do I have to report that?
Well, it's best to disclose everything as soon as possible, but you have until your final year of law school to do so.
Okay, but now what if...
Time's up, Bob. No more questions. If you have any more questions, then you can ask the Honor Council faculty advisor at the law school website at law.memphis.edu.
Thank you, Justice Dang. And that's all, folks.